Bromigo22, good question here. Treyarch or iDub, and why? Tanner.
Oh, wow. Treyarch for the maps, the visibility, the movement speed. I don't know the right word for it, but, you know, like the calling cards, the emblems, everything like that is much better. Infinity Ward, better weaponry. I think better shooting mechanics.
Gunplay.
Yeah, better gunplay. Treyarch has better movement, but Infinity Ward has better gunplay. More exciting guns to use. I think there's a wider range. You know, if you're going for the realistic aspect, which a lot of these people like, you know, you can set your gun up to look very realistic compared to how you could in real life versus Treyarch, obviously. So I don't know. It's a toss-up. They both have pluses. They both have negatives. This game hasn't been the best example, though. Previous Infinity Ward games were much better than this one. So I am excited for Treyarch's 2020 game because of prestige system and everything else that they do very correctly every year. All their challenge system is fantastic. So much better than what this game has. So I'm excited to be able to grind all of that. But, you know, this has been a good game for the most part. We shit on it, but I play it a lot.
It's still our favorite game, even though it's terrible.
Yeah, the gunsmith has essentially completely saved this game is what it comes down to. So
yeah, the analogy I use for Modern Warfare 2019 is the Star Wars analogy. Let me explain. Probably a lot of Star Wars fans listening, because Star Wars is a good franchise. So when we look at episode 6 of the original trilogy in Star Wars, right? By Star Wars original trilogy standards, episode 6 was a shit movie. It was worse than episode 4 by a lot. It was far worse than episode 5, because that's the best Star Wars movie ever made. The Empire Strikes Back. Watch a movie. Watch a good movie. I'm furious that Tanner disagrees with that arrangement. It's episode 5, then 4, then 6, easily. So here, let me continue the analogy before Tanner interrupts with his dumb fucking soundboard and his dumb opinions. So, by Star Wars original trilogy standards, episode 6 is garbage. The plot is garbage. It's way too Pollyanna. Read a book. It's way too happy-go-lucky. Everything's great. It's terrible. But by movie standards, comparing episode 6 to any other movie, episode 6 is an amazing movie. Really fucking good. It's a great movie by movie criteria, but by Star Wars criteria, it's a bad movie. That's exactly how I feel about Modern Warfare 2019 Game of the Year edition. By video game standards, it's a fucking great game. That's why I do a podcast about it. That's why it's the only game I play. That's why I've dumped countless hours into the game. I love Modern Warfare 2019 by video game standards. By Call of Duty standards, this game is fucking awful. Shit. It's a shit game. It's a shit game. The only thing it got right, really, was the gunplay, the gunsmith, and the weapon balance. I think they did those 3 things exceptionally well this year. They did nothing else well. Nothing else was done well. The maps were done terribly. Skill-based matchmaking is a fucking travesty. What else do we have? The map design is, I mean, it boggles the mind. Go play Grozna Raid and then come tell me the maps are good and then suck my cock if you think they are. The visibility is the worst I've ever seen, ever. In any first-person shooter ever, the visibility is complete garbage. But nonetheless, so by Call of Duty standards, it's terrible. By video game standards, it's fantastic. So when we're talking about Treyarch versus Infinity Ward, I agree with Tanner that MW 2019 Game of the Year edition is an anomaly, and you shouldn't really... You should use it to compare the 2 development teams, but I think a lot of the... Not all of the problems, but a lot of the problems with this game are Activision's fault and not Infinity Ward's fault. The visibility is not Activision's fault. The map design might... There's evidence that the map design is partially or almost entirely Activision's fault, but the visibility isn't, and that's a huge fucking problem. I think the minimap is probably Infinity Ward's fault also, but skill-based matchmaking and the map design, Activision has a hand or the only hand in those things. So Infinity Ward, I agree with Tanner about almost everything he said. Gunplay is better but in Infinity Ward games. Weapons in general, better in Infinity Ward games. Weapon balance, better in Infinity Ward games. Treyarch, the aesthetic in Infinity Ward games, way better. I don't like the fucking Fortnite aesthetic that Treyarch likes to use, especially in BO4. Fucking so dumb. The diamond camos were fucking just garish, fucking
I like it.
Gross, ugly, tacky, dumb, colorful, vibrant, just aesthetic. I hated it. The bunny suit that Firebreak had, that operator skin, suck my dick.
That was dumb, yeah.
So dumb. And there were a million examples of that. Just awful. Awful aesthetic in Treyarch games. But Treyarch did a lot of things right. Maps, way better in Treyarch games. My top 10 maps are probably all Treyarch maps, maybe 9 of them. All the bangers that you can list off the top of your head are from the Black Ops series. They're all from Treyarch games. What else did Treyarch do better? I don't agree with Tanner about movement. I think the movement is really good in both of them. I think Treyarch introduced the sliding mechanic, but Infinity Ward uses it too now, so I think it's kind of a toss-up as far as movement is concerned. The visibility...
I like the quicker movement.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think the movement was really even except for this game. Like, sprint out time definitely goes to BO4 over Modern Warfare, and you could call that movement. But I'm not sure that you could say... I'm not sure you could lay that at the feet of the development team as much as you could this being an anomaly. One thing I will say, though, Infinity Ward has never done fucking operators. And operators are terrible. Terrible. So Treyarch definitely gets a hit to its reputation over Infinity Ward because they've done operators for a while now. And that's so dumb in a first-person shooter. So overall, if I had to pick, I would still pick Treyarch. Because I like being able to see people, I like a functioning mini-map, and I like having gung-ho, which means good sprint out time, which encourages moving around the map and discourages camping. And Treyarch also has a working mini-map in every one of its titles, which again encourages moving around and discourages camping. Or at least doesn't encourage camping.